Welcome to the show, homies. Holy shit, there's blood in the water. But the data for 2025 shows that most buyers are terrified of the blood, so they're not jumping in. We're seeing some incredible opportunities for first-time homebuyers because of this. The numbers are mind-blowing. Wait till you hear what's happening in both the regular resale home market as well as the shocking new data from the new construction home market. This could alter your entire game plan for 2025. Jump on in, homies. The water's fine. Assuming, of course, that you have all the facts. So let's get educated.
How to Buy a Home educates, protects, and connects first-time homebuyers to local, qualified realtors specifically for first-time buyers. Whether you're looking for DIY information or personal step-by-step guidance, How to Buy a Home is your #1 resource for first-time homebuyers.
What is happening, my How to Buy a Homies? I'm still David Sidoni, and I am marching into 2025 just like you are. So here's what's happening in housing. Mortgage interest rates are stalled around 7%. Gang, this looks like it's going to be the new normal for at least the beginning of 2025, maybe all the way through. And this terrifies a lot of your competition out there, and it's going to keep them on the sidelines. So that's an opportunity for you. Now, part of the reason for that is because the current Fed rate is stuck at 4.5%. And the predicted and prayed for 2025 anticipated slew of rate cuts, they're in an indefinite holding pattern, even though unemployment is at a low 4.1%. The problem is that inflation continued to go up in January from 2.9% to 3%. That's the wrong direction because the Fed has a target of 2% for inflation. Next piece of data, this is about home prices right now. CoreLogic reported a 0.2% drop in home prices from December to January. Yeah, gang, that's that window I was talking about. Now, it looks like it's going to continue to start going up, but going up slowly. On February 10th, JP Morgan forecasted a gradual rise of about 3% for the entire rest of 2025. And JP Morgan thinks that mortgage rates are going to ease only slightly to about 6.7% for the year. Now, I know that doesn't sound great, but let's get you some more information. This is more good, but not largely reported news. I'm getting reports from all over the country of several new 2025 down payment assistance programs, credits and grants being offered to first-time homebuyers from $10,000 to $20,000 and even a crazy $50,000 grant here in Southern California. But of course, as with all these down payment assistance programs, they are regionally specific, not just state by state, but even down to your county or your city. I'm going to give you some basic math on how these can work for you. The average home in the United States is about $425,000, and the average rents where the homes cost that average $425,000, it's about $2,100 for a 2-bedroom. So if you're looking to buy at a 6.89% interest rate, if you put 5% as your down payment, your new monthly PITI payment so that you could be a homeowner, that's going to be about $3,000. Now, I can't give you exactly what it's going to be because the TI in PITI, which is principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, the TI, taxes and insurance, is going to be different for every region of the country. So that math alone, $900 difference between a rent payment and a PITI payment, that's going to scare off a lot of people. But you're a homie, which means you're using a rent replacement strategy. And you're understanding that you're putting all of your rent, that $2,100 a month, plus that extra $900 into home ownership. And you've created a forced savings account for yourself. And you're going to stop losing at $2,100 a month. What is that? $25,200 a year. So now maybe you'd love to do that, but you're saying, hey, sounds like a smart plan, Sidoni, but we don't have that 5% down payment plus the 3% for closing costs. I mean, that 8%, David, of $425,000, that's $34,000, and we've only got $20,000 saved right now. It's going to take us to the end of the year to try to save up that remaining $14,000. Here's something exciting for you. This is where these local down payment assistance programs and grants can change everything for you. So you're sitting there with $20,000. Well, if you pick up a $10,000 grant, suddenly you're only $4,000 away from making your move. And then don't forget this important tactic. You and your real estate support team can also try to get the seller to offer you a credit as well, maybe $5,000 or $10,000. Now, that could mean if you stack that on the down payment assistance program, that's an extra $15,000 or $20,000 for you to reach your goal so much sooner than you thought. So right away, homies, you can see these numbers and the data that's coming in. It's encouraging. And here is some more new data on the current window of opportunity that should have buyers all tingly with excitement, yet most of them are way too petrified to jump in the water. A new report from Redfin determined that housing supply in January was at its highest level since 2020. But get this, the demand for housing in January, lowest level since 2020. Okay, homies, it's Economics 101. Supply and demand is at a 5-year advantage for buyers. Highest number of supply and the lowest demand that we've seen in 5 years. Homies, I was talking about this potential 5-year, once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I started talking about that back in September, and I'm not here to say I told you so. I'm just here to say you have a friend who's a real estate nerd trapped in a cave of his recording studio, and I'm going to give you this information when I see it coming. And I saw that coming, and it happened. Now, if you're in a part of the country where you're thinking, Sidoni, that doesn't feel like it's happening for me right here. You're totally right. Could be, because this varies from region to region within the country. Now, here's what the Redfin senior economist Elijah De La Campa said, quote, on a national scale, we're seeing an increase in people selling homes and a decrease in people buying homes, bringing supply and demand closer to equilibrium. But the national snapshot masks a lot of regional variation. For example, pending sales are rising from a year ago in expensive coastal markets like San Jose and Seattle, and posting double-digit declines in pandemic boom towns like Miami and Austin. In Newark, active listings are at an all-time low, but in San Antonio, they're near a record high, unquote. So obviously, if you want to find out what's going on in your town, you got to start working with local experts ASAP. Now, let me give you some very interesting new data that just came out, and this could be extremely important for all you first-time homebuyers out there, because so many homies reach out and they ask me, hey, David, how do I compare a regular resale home to all these new construction and new build homes that I see? What's the better deal for me? All right, well, first, and I can't emphasize this enough, I do not have time in this episode to go into all the factors which will properly help you decide which property you specifically should choose. There are hundreds of variables for each individual buyer in both your financial and personal goals. Now, if you want to go deep into this, you can listen to episode 279. That goes over resale versus new homes in great detail, and that'll help you decide what's the best decision for you to make. So once you've got all your intel, this is what I want to share with you today. You can make your own decision and compare these two options for yourself with this interesting new opportunities for new build homes that could be coming in 2025. Here's the data. Right now, reports just came out that new residential construction, it's down almost 10% in January. According to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, and the U.S. Census Bureau, this year kicked off with a downturn in construction. Housing starts in January were 9.8% lower than the number of housing starts in 2024. Now, if you're new to the podcast, let me explain. Housing starts, that's a real estate term referring to the number of new residential homes that have begun the building process. And according to the U.S. Census Bureau, it takes an average of 8.6 months to build a new home from start to completion, with the build for sale homes taking an average of 7 months to complete. And then the owners building their own homes usually take about 14 months. So it's 7 months from the time that they start building one of those homes that you go buy in a track. Joel Berner, the senior economist at Realtor.com, he was describing the new applications for permits and said that this is the first place where we see some uncertainty about the future affecting the builders' decisions. Berner proposed that there was a large gap between housing starts and housing completions in January and suggested that builders are in a wait-and-see mode. He said that's where they are right now when it comes to kicking off a new residential construction project. Interesting stuff, right? I mean, what is that going to do for the supply when you're looking at supply and demand as a first-time homebuyer? Now, it gets even more interesting. Listen to this. According to the National Association of Home Builders, the NAHB, and something they have called the Wells Fargo Housing Market Index, that's an HMI. That index, it measures new home builders' confidence in the market. and it measures it on a scale of 0 to 100. Anything higher than 50 on the scale, that indicates that a majority of home builders are confident. Now, we started this year pretty low at 47 in January, but it dropped to 42 in February, meaning the builders' confidence was dropping a little bit. Some say it was due to the proposed tariffs on the building materials. Some say it was due to the outlook on the interest rates for the rest of the year, hovering around 7% and not maybe doing that 6% until way later. Now, why does that matter to them? Oh, that's right, because it's a 7-month lead time to build their new homes for sale. So their confidence right now, it's dropping a little bit. A few months ago, the builders thought that rates would be in the low 6s by that spring or summertime. So this means more blood in the water with less confidence and less supply. And if you're wondering how that 42 new confidence index, how it stacks up in the history, check out this. It was a gigantic 5-point drop. But to really understand what that means, in 2021, that same index was at 81.2 over 12 months. And now, y'all remember back in April 2020, like when the world was coming to the end and everyone had a COVID freak out lockdown? Well, you'd think that index would have been at single digits right then, right? Actually, it was at 30. Today, we're only at 42. Now, as a first-time homebuyer, do you have to understand all this data and what it means for you? No, but trying to give you a little leg up here. This could mean that you have one of two major results, depending on what part of the country you live in. Now, if your region is currently underbuilt with very sparse numbers of new homes coming to the market, that means that there are already some homes that are on their way to being built, somewhere in that 7-month building period. But there probably won't be a ton of homes following the completion of those, since the housing starts are dropping. So you could see more competition on the new builds in the next few months in your area, and definitely probably towards the end of the year, since the supply is going to get lower and lower. Or if you're one of the areas where the home builders have overbuilt with the new buyer demand numbers at a 5-year low, well, maybe you could go out and get a screaming deal on the new builds that are sitting there. And here's why. The new home builders, they're freaking out right now, because all they're concentrating on is their profits, and they need to get their homes sold and get some profits on the books. And this new number tells us they're not necessarily confident for what's going to be happening in the rest of the year, so they want to get some profits right now. In fact, over the past 5 to 6 months, I've been hearing from buyers and unicorns all over the country about some wild incentives for buyers in these new construction sites. We're talking 3.99 and 4.99 interest rates fixed for 30 years. You want to hear about that? Listen to Patrick and Alex's story. That's episode 260. These were the buyers who were adamantly opposed to new build homes. And after spending about 8 months working with their unicorn lender and their realtor, looking at regular sale homes, they finally asked their team, all right, let's take a look at some of those new build options. Maybe we'll check those out. Boom. They found a home twice the size of the resale homes they were looking at that they could completely afford, because they were getting a 4.99 interest rate for 30 years. Now, there's another example of that in episode 256 with Jelly. Yeah, that's the nickname she's been going by since she was 10 years old. Now, Jelly got $10,000 from the builder thanks to her unicorn working that deal. And since the home was being built in an appreciating market, they locked in on that price early while they finished the home. And by the time they moved in, it appraised for $30,000 over what they paid for the home. And they took that $10,000 and they got a 2-1 mortgage interest rate buy down. So their payment was sweet too. So the lesson for you guys out there, take advantage of all the data. See what works for you and your personal plan. Desperate times from the home builders mean that you can score big if you have all the information and, of course, that bitchin' real estate support team to back you up. Okay, quick side note. New home builders kind of suck. They're just big corporations, so they suck like big corporations do. I don't mean the homes. I mean, those big companies, those builders. They are all about profits. And the number one way for them to make profit is to try to screw you out of you bringing your own representation, because the builders have to pay those representatives. And they want to do it themselves, and then you are not protected in the buying process. They have some of the slimiest, sneakiest, absolutely, I consider what should be illegal tactics as far as making sure that you end up with their real estate agent representation instead of being able to bring in your own. So take this warning. Never go tour a construction site on your own. Never go look at new homes without your realtor. And never sign up on a new construction website on your own. Okay, now, this is why. You can go look on Zillow at homes all you want, but if you do it with these new construction places, or if you go tour a home at a site, this is what they do. In the fine print, when you sign up at the new construction site to walk and tour homes, or if you sign up on the website, in that fine print, you forfeit your right to your own representation. You forfeit your right, and you have to use the builder's real estate agent to represent you. You heard that correctly. You forfeit just by signing in or signing up, and you have to use their agent. And of course, that agent works for the builder. So how on earth can they have your best interest in mind? Their job is to make the builder money, and the builders are only about one thing, the bottom line. So once again, yet another reason to get your unicorn team early in your planning process. When it comes to new builds, I have heard countless stories of unicorn realtors protecting the buyers throughout every step of the process, catching dozens of disadvantageous terms that the builders try to slide in there, whether it's in the contract to purchase the home or within the building process itself. Things that would have gone unchecked without a fierce advocate representing you, the buyer, and your rights. Not to mention, here's another big thing about having a unicorn team to help you instead of you going out and looking at this stuff all yourself. Your local unicorn real estate expert is constantly being barraged with all the latest new build information, including all those incentives. Yeah, you think you get spammed when you sign up on a real estate website? If you're a realtor in a certain area and you have a real estate license, the builders find out. And they are relentless in reaching out to us to try to get as many buyers as they can, because of course they want bidding wars on their new offerings. So like it or not, we unicorns, we have gobs and gobs and gobs of information on new builds, way more than you could ever get researching online or drive the neighborhoods and looking at the sites. So this combination of a unicorn there to protect you, who also happens to be armed with all the numbers on the new builder's potential lack of upcoming supply. This is yet another one of the big insider tricks that you can use in 2025 to compare the best deals available for you this year. Okay, the side note rant is over. Back to the data. Here's some regional specific numbers for you. After previously seeing the highest increases in the housing starts back in December 2024, the Northeast had actually reversed course and posted the largest decline in housing starts in January of 2025, falling 14.5%. Now in the southern area, starts dropped 19.2% for single-family homes. In the Midwest, starts dropped 9.2% from December to January. And the West, that was the only region when they split it up into 4 regions that actually saw an increase in housing starts. So keep that in mind when they're shopping out there. Because remember, it's all about supply and demand. All right, homies, I'm going to continue to give you these up-to-the-moment market updates and data drops, but only if you promise me this. Take the information, hear it, and then kind of ignore it. This type of current and specific analytics, it's not to be used for you to decide, yes or no, I should start this process. It's to be utilized within your home planning process. When you hear some data or you see a headline, none of it should be a reason to start your planning. You should start anyway. And none of it should be a reason for you to stop your planning. And it definitely shouldn't be a reason to delay. You want to get going, creating your own rent replacement strategy as soon as you can. I mean, it's right there in the name. It's a strategy. And so that means you're not doing anything as far as buying a home. You're just starting your strategy. So start now, start yesterday, start when you're close to having the big 3 all set up, your credit score, your debt, and your savings. When it's in that optimum position, then you can dissect all the current market data and analytics that you get, because that will help you decide precisely your best play at that time when you're ready to go. But this unequivocally cannot be something where you're using this data as an excuse not to plan. I'm going to reiterate what I always say. Anybody can pounce on an opportunity, but if you are well prepared, you can pounce on that opportunity with options which means you're going to have way more weapons to help you get a better deal. Your options are going to help you get a better deal, not waiting for the market conditions. One more time, if you're a new listener to the podcast, creating a solid 12 to 24 month plan before you're ready to buy, and the options that you've created for yourself will save you tens of thousands of dollars more than any market fluctuation. True that. If you're better prepared with the expertise of a local real estate support team, let's say there's a big fluctuation that goes in the favor of buyers. When you have the options, now you get to double dip. You get the bonus deal of the market fluctuation, which, by the way, is something that is completely out of your control. Plus, you're going to get the double dip because you have options that you formulated with your strategy, which means you can take bigger advantage of that fluctuation. And those options that you created, you are completely in control of that. So you put those two together, that's how you get the strongest deal. Now, if you want more details on the last part of what I was talking about today, the new home versus resale, I'm trying to figure out which one's right for you. I told you it's all there in episode 279. You can get tips on how to shop for new homes, the inspection process, the builder incentives, how to work those upgrades, choosing which model's the right one for you, picking the right builder in your area, and how to spot that builder desperation who are looking to sell their homes at discounted values. And before I go today, I have been reading stuff for the past, 6 to 8 weeks, and I want to share it with you. I want to share a stat first that's going to shock you. I've been saying over the podcast, because it was the most recent data, that in 2024, it was reported that 47% of agents sold 0 homes. Well, gang, that number's been updated and recalculated. As of right now, the data is in, and in 2024, only 29% of all the licensed real estate agents out there were the people that represented anyone buying or selling any of the deals in 2024, meaning that a preposterous 71% of the licensed people who are asking you if they can be your representative for the biggest financial transaction of your life, 71% of them didn't sell one home in 2024. Yeah, the numbers changed. 71% of licensed real estate agents did not sell one home. And that's why I quit my broker back in 2019 to start How to Buy a Home, because I had been on the inside of the industry and I saw this firsthand. I saw how truly meaningless a real estate license, and I put very sarcastic air quotes around license, a meaningless license. I saw it. So I created this to help ignorant, not a dirty word, and uninformed buyers, because you guys are being lied to. Because people were saying, I have a license, and assuming there was expertise attached to it. And of course, you should assume that. What you didn't know is how morbidly low the bar was and how massively untrained these people were. So here's your tip. Spend 10 times more of your time researching, selecting your real estate team, your realtor and your lender, than you do researching things like, how do I get the best interest rate? What type of loan should I use? What do I look for in a home inspection? I mean, think about that. How many hours have you researched loans in the home buying process versus how many hours have you spent researching how to select the right team to be your advocate and your educators? And here's one more thing that I just saw a couple days ago, and I do think this will shock you as well, because it's important that you know this, and this will be an insider secret that will help you. First-time home buyers, you are being targeted by big real estate companies who want to make money off of you. Yeah, it's not because they care about you. It's because 2024 was such a poop show that now they see an opportunity to make money off you as we move forward. Listen to what the top man at Keller Williams, one of the big real estate brokerages in the country, this is Gary Keller. He said this on a stage in an auditorium filled with tens of thousands of his agents. Quote, and it gets confusing because he said quote unquote in the beginning of the quote, but I have to say quote before I read you this quote. So hang with me. This is what he said. Quote, there's no quote unquote real estate celebrity that's the face of first-time home buyers nationally. You don't see people being interviewed on any of the shows about first-time home buyers. There's a gap there. There's an opportunity, unquote. Yeah, he called it an opportunity. Now, the reason why I said that was because last year, the number of first-time home buyers, it dropped by 25%. So instead of seeing, I don't know, a flaw in the training system or in the education that we're giving to first-time home buyers, or maybe something that was lacking from the industry, he sees it as an opportunity for the brokerage to make more money. But let me tell you the huge flaw in the way that they and all the big brokerages have been working for decades. Big real estate sees this as an opportunity right now so they can fabricate some sort of celebrity. But the deal is they haven't been paying attention to you guys for years. So now they want to create this celebrity to get that 25% down that they had last year and grab all you guys. They're basically seeing first-time home buyers as lemmings, and they want to reach as many of you as they can so they can turn a bigger profit. So you can imagine when I saw that, I was kind of pissed. And you know what's crazy? I mean, I actually worked for Keller Williams. I worked for them for 7 years, and they were the broker that I quit back in 2019 when I decided to do this whole thing here and dedicate myself to educating first-time home buyers. But I am more pissed for sure, because he's not the only one that all of a sudden is deciding that first-time home buyers deserve attention and actual decent service. There are several other real estate gurus and coaches that I all of a sudden are hearing talking about first-time home buyers on podcasts and webinars and stages, talking to realtors all over the country. And you know what they're telling them? Hey, realtors, first-time home buyers are the opportunity so that you can continue to make money. So basically they're saying, oh, crap. 25% down from last year. We're not making a lot of money. Hey, you guys go out and go talk to the first-time home buyers. I know that for the last 2 decades, all we've ever said to you are that sellers are the lifeblood of any realtor's business. You know how I always say, get listings to last and the buyers will come to you. Well, change of plans. Go get first-time home buyers, even if you're not trained and working that. Homies, it's a new world out there. I'm telling you this for your protection, and also to help motivate you to get educated and protect yourself. Because there's going to be carpetbaggers out there who want to be that celebrity, and they suddenly see you as an opportunity to boost their profits. Homies, never has the term buyer beware been more apropos. So when you go to TikTok or Instagram and YouTube and you see someone suddenly posting all these new tips for first-time home buyers, make sure you scroll down and see how long they've been in your corner. And I want you to know our YouTube channel is officially in its relaunch mode after we got hacked. You can check out videos on how Trump's new policies are affecting housing. There's another video on FHA loans, and there's a lot more coming, including this week, if you're listening to this right when it drops, a really insightful video. It's going to be the full podcast that I did. I had a great guest from Bigger Pockets, Dave Meyer. Now, if you don't know who Bigger Pockets is, they're like the hugest house hacking, DIY, do-it-yourself, real estate investing, I don't know what you call them, platform company in the universe. Millions of people follow them, and it was a real coup and an honor to get Dave on our show. Now, I know you're buying your first home here. That's what we're focusing on. The cool thing is that even if you've never thought about real estate investing, Dave and this interview, it was an eye-opening, just a great conversation about how you can use your first home to set yourself up financially for life. Lots of talk about house hacking. It was great. All right, homies, here I am, the OG first-time home buyer advocate. Let's start a revolution of education that actually cares about you. Share this podcast with all your renting friends. Do it right there from your phone. Press that little box with the arrow and text it to them. And if you have a minute, please, 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 it's so helpful if you can write a quick review on Apple or Spotify. All right, that's enough asking, because you know me, I'm not about asking, I'm about the giving to you. So you can go to howtobuyahome.com and ask me. I'll give you answers. We'll give you a free course there, or I can give you a chance to help you interview your very own unicorn team and find out if it's the right fit for you in your area. Homies, get educated. Be careful out there. And stay tuned here, and make sure to check out the How to Buy a Home YouTube channel as well, because our goal is for you to gain the confidence so you can swim with the sharks. You can do this.
Looking for more DIY education or your own personal step-by-step guidance through the home buying journey? Since 2019, How to Buy a Home has been the #1 resource for first-time home buyers. So visit howtobuyahome.com to get started.